Okay, so this is one of the weirdest topics we're ever going to make a video about, but I guess we gotta go out there and talk about it. Yesterday, the Chicago Blackhawks ended up defeating the New York Islanders in a shootout 3-2. Now, this was a notable game for a few reasons. Firstly, the New York Islanders have been bad. They haven't won a game in a calendar month. And no, I am not exaggerating that. Let's go over onto the Islanders and their game log and just take a look at where they have been in the previous 4 weeks, I guess you could say. So, Winnipeg, November 6th, they won 2-0, and then Minnesota 5-2 loss, New Jersey 4-0 loss, Tampa Bay 4-1 loss, Florida 6-1 loss, Calgary 5-2 loss, Toronto 3-0 loss, New York Rangers 4-1 loss, Pittsburgh 1-0 loss, and then things actually look up in December. Christmas is coming early here for Islanders fans, as they have actually lost 3 straight games beyond regulation. San Jose was a 2-1 overtime loss, so there you go, there's a point. Detroit, 4-3 overtime loss, there you go, another point, a 3-game point streak right here. And then, of course, Chicago, 3-2 shootout loss, so there is another point. Islanders fans have sarcastically been saying, oh, look at this, guys, we're streaking, we've got 3 points in 3 games, and we actually have points now after going an entire month without a full win. And I mean, look, it sucks. It really does. Winning literally 0 hockey games in the span of a month definitely doesn't feel good. How many losses is that in a row? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 losses in a row? It's really bad. But yesterday's game against the Chicago Blackhawks was actually a pretty interesting one, because we had ourselves what was a pretty standard and pretty exciting way to make things happen. Chicago was up 2-1 at the end of the third period, and guess what happens with 4 seconds to go? Mathew Barzal takes the puck in the corner. He kind of itches his way towards the goal. Everybody is piling out in front. There are 5 Blackhawks in there. The empty net is there on the other side, so it's 6-on-5. Barzal centers it to the top of the slot for Noah Dobson, who rips a shot in past Fleury. It is a 2-2 tie. This was a crazy way for Islanders fans in the building to experience what was a really, really special moment. A Noah Dobson game where he actually looks really good. He gets the game-tying goal with 4 seconds left, and it forces the overtime. Now, of course, because at the end of regulation it was a crazy game, Islanders fans were super hyped up. Islanders fans are like, yeah, that was a fantastic way to end off regulation. I'm so pumped, dude. Noah Dobson is fantastic. And then the overtime came, and all that energy and excitement just drained away. This overtime sucked. And I want you to go out there and find the link. Actually, no, there's a video link somewhere. It's on YouTube. I'll put a link in the description to the full 5-minute overtime of Chicago, New York yesterday. This was bad. This was the worst overtime that I've ever seen, and I don't usually single out particular games because of one period or whatever, but this overtime was kind of indicative of what overtime has become, and I think it kind of begs the question as to whether or not we need to have a discussion as to if 3-on-3 OT is even the right way to go about things into the future. So, what happened? Nobody scored in overtime. We went to a shootout. It was 1 goal scored by Patrick Kane, and that was it. It was 1-0 in the shootout for Chicago, and they won 3-2. Here are some comments that I wanted to go over. This is what Dylan Strome said specifically. He had the other goal in the third period, an unassisted marker 5 minutes in to put the Blackhawks up 2-1, of course, before Dobson tied it. This is what he says about the world's most boring overtime. Yeah, Barzal likes to hold on to the puck, I guess. Maybe he's trying to get his Corsi up or something like that. He just kept circling back. It is what it is. We'll take it to a shootout, and we've got great scores. Mark Lazarus says that he knows that is not how Corsi works, but that is what Dylan Strome said about Barzal and the way the Islanders played the overtime. Now, they've played 3 straight overtime games, but this one was particularly bad in that this period had absolutely no offense from the New York Islanders. From puck drop, New York won the faceoff, they held on to it a little bit, they passed it around, they entered the zone, and then they exited the zone. Regrouped in the neutral zone, passed it around a little bit, in their own zone too. Went back to the neutral zone, crossed over the blue line, took a look, and then they reversed back the other way into the neutral zone once again. This was just back and forth, with New York holding on to the puck the entire time. Normally you hear back and forth hockey. It's, one team's getting it, then the other team's getting it, and then they go back and forth. That wasn't this game. This was New York just going forward and back themselves. They were holding on to the puck and just circling back into the neutral zone. Mathew Barzal specifically takes the puck into his own zone a few times. He falls down, he gets up, tries to start the breakout and the break in, and it doesn't really work, so he reverses. It was only a few times where the Islanders actually tried to get like a shot on goal or something, and eventually Chicago would try to take it back. They would do the same reverse into the neutral zone strategy too, but just in terms of the offensive dedication and effort in the offensive zone, Chicago, whenever they had the puck in the offensive zone, they actually would try to get some high-danger passes and try to get some shots. New York, just comparative to what we saw previously, New York just went out there with a conservative approach, trying to go out there and get the pinpoint perfect opportunity for a goal. But, you can't do that when you're playing half the period in the neutral zone. So, Dylan Strome calls out Mathew Barzal here. Oh yeah, he likes to circle back with the puck. Maybe he's trying to get his Corsi up or something. By the way, if you want to know actually how the Corsi works, you actually need to shoot the puck towards the goal or have an attempted shot in order for Corsi to work and in order for you to build up your Corsi, but holding onto the puck and just skating around with it in the neutral zone is not going to do anything for your Corsi, frankly. And ultimately, it's that lack of aggression that causes the Islanders to falter and not actually do anything in the overtime period. The Blackhawks had 2 shots on goal, the Islanders had 0, and they had the puck for most of the period. This blows my mind, dude. Is this how you get offense? No, this is not how you get offense, and in fact, it's begged the question as to whether or not 3-on-3 overtime in the NHL even needs a revamp, because we know that when this was implemented back in, 2016, 2017, 3-on-3 overtime was a way for the team to actually go out there and get the games done earlier. We didn't want more shootouts, we wanted more goals, and so going from 4-on-4 to 3-on-3 and eliminating the extra man on both sides opened up the ice, and it made for more exciting hockey where teams actually would be going out there and trying to dazzle the pants off with the extra space. But now, with all the stuff going on about wanting to get points and wins and all that stuff mattering so much in the standings, we saw this last year with Montreal. Every time they would play Vancouver in 3-on-3 overtime, they would just send the puck back to their goalie. Every other offensive break-in, they would send it back to the goalie, get a change, and then they'd just try the entire thing again and just repeat the process. 3-on-3 overtime has gotten to a point now where it's a lot more of a possession-based game, a who can hold on to the puck longer game, than it is a, okay, let's actually try to score a goal and win kind of game. New York held on to the puck for what seemed like the entire time. The first 2.5 minutes went by without a whistle because it was just New York holding on to the puck and they had 0 shots. This is not how you play overtime. And now you have to ask yourself, okay, do we want to enforce a rule like, NBA basketball, half-court line? If you cross back, hey, play stops, you're done. Could we do something like that in the NHL? I think it actually would be a pretty interesting strategy, either if it's the offensive blue line or if it's the red line at the neutral zone, because, hey, the red line at the neutral zone is important because it divides the benches. The offensive team would have their own bench actually close by to them, so the defensive team would need to really go out there and try to get away if they wanted to get their line changed, because the opposite team wouldn't be able to go back. It's a really strange kind of conversation to be having here, but it's one that I do think that we need to discuss because this overtime was kind of indicative of so many trends that we've been seeing the past few months that it's kind of ridiculous at this point how boring and unengaging 3-on-3 overtime has become. This was supposed to be exciting. Remember Team North America versus Team Sweden at the World Cup of Hockey? Henrik Sedin to Daniel Sedin, breakaway. Oh, he gets stopped up. A few seconds later, it's back in the Sweden end, trying to spring up Sedin for another breakaway. Oh no, here's a steal. Nathan McKinnon, Lundqvist scores. That was fantastic. That was exciting. That right there is what 3-on-3 overtime was supposed to be, but that's not really what we have anymore. We have teams just kind of ragging it in their own zone. So, talk to me in the comments, what do you think about this entire thing over here? Dylan Strome calling out Mathew Barzal for the 3-on-3 overtime strategy employed by Barry Trotz. Tell me in the comments all your thoughts. I hope you enjoyed this video. Rosén 99. And bye.